Right, so firstly, you can hear me okay? Because I can't hear myself at all. So there we are, good. Right, we've got about 15 minutes till lunchtime, and I want to just show you very quickly, for those of you that were here last time, I stand up generally, I talk about things like the dashboard. So for those of you that have got the dashboard, you've got it in place and working, that's brilliant. And we want to show you today very quickly, I'm not going into massive detail, but I'm going to show you some features of something called Tile Academy, which is an addition to the dashboard platform. The same guys that have developed it are building on it. And it's an extension to the dashboard, but also it's probably aimed at a teacher, okay? You can tell probably by that from that banner, all your learning resources in one place. The idea and the concept behind it is to take disparate digital media. So today you've got images, pictures, videos all over the internet. You've got files in OneDrive, in Dropbox, because they're files that your staff have probably created and stored disparately. But also, then the bit I'm going to focus on today, the big question that lots of you guys have talked to me about is the issue over sharing school files that are stored on your school server. There are a number of you that are not keen to see your files disappear off into Dropbox or into OneDrive. You want to keep them on your school servers. I want to show you very, very quickly through the use of Tile Academy how you can get access to those files really, really simply and really, really easily, and actually do it in quite a visually attractive way that keeps kids stimulated, okay? So, first point to point out with Tile Academy is that there's a few ways you can log in, okay? This is I'll come on to cost in a moment, but there are a number of ways you can log in. You can log in with Office 365, so if you sign up for 365, brilliant, you can log in using that. If that's then federated down to your domain, great, you can use that to get in with your school usernames and passwords, one way. Second way is with your Microsoft Live account. You've got a Hotmail account or an Outlook account, you can sign up using that. And that's a case of just clicking on it. And third way is with a name that I won't mention at the moment, okay? So there's also, you don't need to have Office 365. We're also able, if you've got the dashboard system, then or a piece of our software, we can host it inside your school and we can give you login with your school username and password, even if you're not yet on Office 365, okay? So here's that way of doing it. So the idea behind it, I'm going to jump straight in really, really quickly. We've got over here on the home system, or on the home page, we're looking at a bunch of walls. I've logged in with my account. I'm not a teacher, but I use this for a demo instruction. The idea is, am I being picked up on both of those there? Is it echoing a bit, yeah? Can you hear me okay here? Is that, yeah? I'll stand in the middle then. So we've got a bunch of walls. I might be a teacher, I may be creating walls that I want to attach content to. I want to attach pictures, maybe we're doing a topic in class, maybe we're doing something around the Romans, or in this case I'm going to use Leonardo da Vinci as my example. When I click on a wall, I can create a new one. I'm going to jump straight in. And if you want to see more about how this works, how I can create a wall and how I can attach content, come see me outside in a second and I can take you through a lot more detail. But that's a wall, okay? As a teacher, I have the ability to edit my wall and attach all sorts of content to this page. If I hit my plus symbol, you can see they're the types of things I can attach. I can attach websites, lots of text. I've got single sign-on applications. So if I've got a classroom full of children that have all got different usernames and passwords to log on to, well, we'll do secondary. So let's say you've got show my homework, all right, and it's not set up to log in with your school usernames and passwords. I can record as a teacher, go through a process of recording my logon. I can store that in Tile Academy, and then I can, as a teacher, type in all my students' usernames and passwords to Tile Academy. So that when the children come and visit that site, it will ask them, what do you want to do? Do you want to log in? And once they're logged into Tile Academy, click on their name and it will automatically sign them into their Show My Homework platform, for example, okay? So it's a great way for you to manage sign-on without having to give your kids different usernames, passwords, bits and pieces. As a parent, I've got a fridge with about 4 or 5 different passwords on and a bug club thing with everyone's different names and usernames and passwords. So one of the great advantages is your kids don't need to remember those credentials, okay? You can keep it all stored in Tile Academy. All you've got to do is log into Tile Academy with their school username and password and click on a link and they can sign into apps. That's one thing we talk about. We have things like the library, we can add in apps. Okay, so if I add in this case, a mobile application, then what I can do with that, if I'm on an iPad and I'm looking at my wall, or I'm on a tablet, or I'm on an Android device, whatever it is, if I click on an app icon, it will take me to the application within the app. So I can pick up a tablet and I can have a link to a website, I can have a link to a document, I can have a link to a website, I can have a link to a website that signs me in. I can have a link to an app, a mobile app. So now, From a teacher's perspective, that's brilliant because they don't have to get their children off over here. They don't have to put a URL up on the blackboard for them to type in. They don't have to share a document or open up a Word document with lots of boring links in. This is much more interesting, much more visually stimulating for the students. So that's a quick run over Tile Academy. If you want to see more about how that works and pinning resources and things, then come and see me. But I'm going to talk to you and show you very quickly what we can do around files and folders. So I've taken my wall and I'm going to attach a document, a file that I want to share with students or I want to share with anybody, in fact. I could take my file from Tile Academy's own storage area. I could take it from OneDrive. I could take it from Google or Dropbox, as you can see down here, or even from Office 365. But in this scenario, because I've logged in my school details, I can take it from my school server. So clicking on the school server allows me to see mapped drives, or what you know as mapped drives in your environment. Okay, you configure these. You tell Tile Academy where your mapped drives are. So in this scenario, it's my home area, because I'm logged in as me. I've got my student public area, maybe my staff area, whatever I like. And I can browse into any of these parts. So I can go into the home, I'll go into my home area, because it's private to me. And you'll see that these are all my folders that are stored on my server in school. Okay? This is a hosted platform. It's not sitting on your systems at the moment. It is sat in a platform. But all of the information is being securely sent from Tile Academy down to your school. It's happening across an SSL connection using the same sort of technology that we use in Dashboard to communicate into your school, okay? If I go into my Da Vinci folder here, you're going to see that I've got a couple of files here, okay? I've got 2 documents and a thumbnail. And just to show you that, I'm just going to jump into a remote desktop session over here. Okay, this is my PC, or my desktop. I'll make it nice and big so you can see it. But you can see this is my home area. This is the same area, and if I go into my Da Vinci folder up here, I've got these 2 files. Okay, so I just want to show you that that's live, okay, and that is what you're seeing inside your school network. So if you're sat at your teacher's PC and you're logged in, and they open up their map drive, they're going to see this sort of area. So a couple of things I can do then. Let's say I want to pin a file. Let's take this Leonardo da Vinci file here. I'm going to click a doc. And I get 2 choices. I can create a public link for that file, or I can pin it to the wall. I can add it to my wall. So we'll start with the adding to the wall. I click add. And very, very simply, by coming back out onto the wall now, as I scroll down, you're going to have, there it is in fact, Word Online kicks in. It pulls the file out of your school servers and it renders it for you, straight on Tile Academy. Okay? So that's that Word document. It's not being stored in Tile Academy. I've not had to upload it. I've not had to save it to my desktop, log into my VLE, click on File Upload and upload the document. All I've got to do is browse through my file system and pin it. If I click on it, then I've got a few options of things I can do with it. I can download it. I can pull it down to my local device that I'm sat on. I can view it online, and we can take advantage of Office 365's viewer. It gives me a read-only copy of that file. And please remember at this point, that file has not left your school server. Okay? Anything that we do with that, I've not uploaded it anywhere. I've not shoved it into a virtual learning environment. That's a live copy of that file. Yeah?
How do you deal with staff
So I'll come on to that in a second, yeah? So you can create something called a public link, which allows you effectively to get into it. So this document you're looking at here is in my home area. So I'm the only person on the system that has access to that file, me and the administrator, right? We all know that one. So, but that is a live file, okay? So if I were to go and change that file, it would update. It would be an immediate file. So in fact, let's do that, shall we? So what I'll do, I'll close this down, okay, and we'll close this out. And we'll go back to my PC. I think it was this one that I edited, wasn't it? So we'll open this up. And to make a point, we will delete that whole header, okay? And we'll save it. So I've edited that file, I've closed it down. I'm going to shrink it down. We'll give our page a refresh. And what will happen now, if I go off and grab that file again, we'll let it preview. Now you can see already, it's got rid of the title bar. You see that in that little preview? If I click on it again, and we'll view Microsoft Office Online, you can see it's got rid of it. Okay, it's taken out the information that I had underneath it. So it's immediately live. Okay, I've not uploaded it anywhere, I've not done anything, which means it's great. If you want to share this content now with people, then you don't need to re-upload your documents to the VLE when you make a change. You can build an entire wall, or your teachers can build an entire page of resources and working environment. People can collaborate on a document. It can all be saved in your school server, but you can make it publicly available. Right, the answer to how do we get to that file. Now, I'm logged into Tile Academy, and in fact, if any of you went to my page now, you could get to that file securely. And the way it works is it generates something called a public link, okay? It knows who I am. It has something called a, how many of you know about cryptography and certificates and stuff? And the idea behind that is that, brilliant, so the idea behind that is that you have something called public and private keys. And the idea is that your school server generates a public and a private key. So for those of you that are interested, what happens is you send your public key to Tile Academy and it uses it to encrypt every bit of data that it deals with. Anything to do with the school, it wraps up with its own secure key that's given to it by your school server. The only person that can then decrypt that information is your school server because it generated the private side of that key. Anybody else picks up that information on the way or anywhere on the internet, it can't undo it unless it can get the private key out of your school server, which it can't because it's stored inside your school platforms, okay? So the way it works is it knows who I am and everything that it executes inside your school server is run as whoever you're logged into Tile Academy is. And in every case, that will be your student. So if you're logging as a student, the student will only be able to see files that they can get access to. If they log into Tile Academy, they're not going to be able to get in the staff area because you have your permission to say no, all right? They can see their home area, and they can go, yeah, they will get read access to the public or to the students area, all right? So let's take that a little bit further. What if I want to take a file and I want to put it back into my school server really, really quickly, okay? I don't want to upload stuff. I don't want to muck around with that. So what we'll do, we can do a similar thing. We can come down to the school server again. This time, I'm going to go into my home area again, because I'm logged in as me, and I'm going to go and put a file back in the DaVinci folder. Okay, so we can see that if I pop in here now, apologies, if I pop in here now, and we close this down, you can see I've got two files in there. Okay, this is on my school server. So what we'll do, I'll close it down. Pop into my home area, pop into our DaVinci folder, and I'm going to upload a file. So I'm going to click here, and I'm going to go to my desktop, and we'll go into Tile Academy, and maybe we'll take this Word document, the Mona Lisa.doc, whatever. We'll grab it, we hit open, it uploads it. Now, if we pop back to my school server, there it is, done, straight into the school platform, okay? So there's no need for me to be logging in and out. Tile Academy knows who I am. I can now send documents straight into the school platform, and I can pull documents out of the school platform fine. Still going to be subject to antivirus that's on your server. So if anyone starts thinking they can upload dodgy stuff, you can stop that from happening. You do have the ability to say, only want images and Word documents to be uploaded. I don't want executables and all the other bits and nasties that you might not want. So you can choose the file types that go up. But you can see that that is seamless. In terms of getting files in and out of your school, it's very, very rapid. So your students submitting stuff, brilliant. Chris, go for it.
Yeah, when you were back
doing
the just go to that.
Mm-hmm. Here?
Yeah, where you actually.
Okay, so I went into DaVinci.
Is there any preview there? Because if you've got so let's say for example you just stuff they just done on school stage.
Yep.
And it's going to be picture 1, picture 2, picture 3, picture 4.
Mm-hmm.
Is there any way to view
So
say this one?
we can enable that. The only downfall of it is it's going to send every time you render it, it's going to pop down to school to get it. So sorry, Tom. Of course, can. Yeah. So Chris was asking, is there any way we can preview on that bit there, rather than having grey boxes, we can have little pictures. And the answer is yes, but you will find that it will try and pull every file out of your school system. So it might take a bit longer to load. But the answer is yes, you can do that if that's what you prefer. I've turned it off because for demonstration purposes, it keeps it grey in bits and pieces. So that's how we can get a file out of the school, and we can put a file back into the school. So that's really, really seamless. Now, we're talking about public links. So if I wanted to, I could, let's go and grab a file from somewhere. So we'll pop into Tile Academy, and we're going to take this picture here. So I've got a file now that I want to share with anybody in the world, or maybe anybody that I give a link to. How many of you use OneDrive? How many of you have ever created a sharing link on OneDrive that you've then given to somebody to go and get the file, yeah? So you can do the same thing with Tile Academy, with a document inside. Charlie put his hand up, and I know that was a lie, all right? He never logged into OneDrive, I'm telling you. No, I'm joking. So if you've created that sharing link, you know you can give that link to anybody and they can click on it and they don't need your username and password to get the file out of your OneDrive, they just go and get the file. Okay, and the same thing happens with Tile Academy. So I can grab a public link. So if I'm browsing around, I click on get a public link and it gives me a URL at the top or a barcode that I can use. Okay, so give it a go if you want. If anyone's got a barcode reader and you've got on the internet, give it a go. But I will do it on my phone. I can't broadcast it, but you'll get the picture. If I jump into any sort of barcode reading application, like Red Laser, what I'll do is I'll pick my thing up and I can go and scan that and see if it'll pick it up in the glare. Okay, it says, do you want to open your URL? And I hit yes. Now bear in mind, this device doesn't know who I am. It doesn't know my username and password to get into your school systems. Okay, and it's a picture. Well, you tell me what it is. Okay, so got it? Yeah? So it's a bacon sandwich, because that was all there was outside to take a picture of. So you can share that with anybody you like. But that file that you've just got is still securely held inside your school platform. Okay? So Tile Academy is giving you the ability to take documents stored in OneDrive, cloud-based resources, documents stored in your school, files, folders, images, pictures, anything you like, links to websites, videos, YouTube clips, anything you like. Okay, the way it works, if any of you have ever used sort of Pinterest, it's a very similar process when I pin something in. If I were to go and add in bbc.co.uk, for example, the idea behind it is I'm going to create a link to the BBC, it'll hit it in, and it will go and scan the BBC front page, and it will just give me all the pictures on the page. I go, yeah, actually, do you know what, that's great, I'm liking that photo there. I can create a tile, and very, very simply, it's pinned it against my wall, and any member of staff or anybody that gets access to this file can then come and click on that link and follow it and go off to the BBC website. So it's a really, really quick way of collating or curating digital content and keeping it all in one place. Great for teachers. All sorts of other options around there with sharing. You've got a barcode to get to that wall straight away. You can print that QR code off, stick it on a wall, on a display board. Two uses really. One, as a teacher, would you use this to collate your documents together? But also, maybe the school would use it just as a digital notice board. How many times have you got an email from the school with a newsletter, and then 6 minutes later you got another one because someone phoned them up saying there's a spelling mistake in it, right? So in that case, if you'd have sent them a link to the Tile Academy sharing site, people could have just changed that file behind the scenes and no one would have ever known there was a spelling mistake. So all sorts of clever uses like that. So maybe use it as a digital board. But you can do lots of things around customizing it. I can set permissions on a wall and I can say, right, I want it to be totally public. I appreciate these are quite grey, but I can create something that's totally public. Anyone in the world can get to it. Google or Spider that page, pull out the content. I can create a hidden link, which means Google won't see it, but I can give the Tile Academy URL to anybody I like and they can gain access to it. I can have a password protected wall, which means that I can get to it, but I've got to type in a password to be able to see the content on the wall. Or thirdly, I can have a private page. And the private page is going to pull out my Active Directory groups, okay, or any groups that I want to create. So suddenly now, as long as my kids are all in the Year 7 OU, well, they can all have access to Year 7 content, okay? It's all tied in with your server. Or if you're using Office 365 or you're using Google Apps or any other sort of large platform, you'll be able to use those groups as well. All right, so a great tool. So. Correct, yeah. So you can, currently there's no way to automatically pull the data out of SIMs. Although if you've got something like Group Call, then if you've already tapped into Group Call, then there's a licensing question around whether you can pull that out. But yes, in terms of actually creating user accounts, I'll show you very quickly. You can go into your settings here and we'll go into your users and you'll see that you've got various options around manually adding a user from your Active Directory server or importing a CSV file. Okay, so as long as you've got the right fields and you want to run and export out of SIMs, then you can do it that way. Okay, Charlie. Perfect. So that was it. Go and have some lunch because he's obviously hungry. Go and have some lunch. If you want to see more about this, come and grab me and I'll show you Tile Academy. Just as a heads up, we are going to release this at Bet. This is a brand new product, so you're the first people. Some of you have seen bits of it. This is the first product that we're doing today. Okay, we are going to release it at Bet today. Eventually, it will have a cost, but today we want to just give it to you guys, okay? So until the summer, if you're interested in using Tile Academy, come and see me and we'll get you set up and using it, but you can have it for free until the summer next year for your school, okay? So if you want to jump on, you want to give it to your staff and they want to try it out, then we're looking for people to test it with a view that by January, end of January, we're launching it at Bet, okay? So come and see me if you want to know more about it. And that's it. Please go and have some lunch. Thank you very much. Cool.